Hello, everybody. So nice to see you all. We're just going to wait for a couple more people to enter in. They're trickling in slowly but surely, but we'll get started really soon.
I just sent you.
We're just going to give one more minute and then we'll get started. Okay, Sarah, I think we'll get started here. The attendees list seems to be stabilizing. I'm sure some more people will trickle through. We had a lot registered, so but I don't want to wait too long because we have a pretty comprehensive presentation for you all today, which we're really excited to share. So thank you so much for being here. My name is Charlotte, and before we get started, I did just want to take a moment to acknowledge that I live and work on the unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. And this land has been home to the Mi'kmaq for millennia, and they continue to live and work and care for it today. We recognize that treaties were signed to share the land, but that those agreements haven't always been respected. And so it's important for us to reflect on what that means and how we can be better neighbors and allies. So let's keep that in mind as we learn and connect together today. And with that, let's get started. I'll introduce myself to start. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Charlotte Genge. I'm a consultant working in marketing and circular textiles. I'm the founder of the Great Halifax Clothing Swap and the co-founder of By the Pound Thrift. And I've led initiatives that promote community-driven, sustainable consumption. I'm a senior project manager and researcher for NACTR, and I serve on the board for Big Brothers Big Sisters Renew Crew Clothing Collection Initiative. I also work with various charity social enterprises providing business consulting services.
And hello, everybody. I'm Sarah. It's great to meet any of you that I haven't met before. I work in the Business Development and Sustainability Department at the Salvation Army, where I focus on developing strategies that drive long-term growth while fostering environmental responsibility. I'm also a very active member when it comes to the NACTR Association. I support community-driven initiatives. With a strong background in business, I'm passionate and results-oriented. I'm committed to creating a positive impact both within our business sector and within our local communities.
Thanks, Sarah. We're both excited to be here on behalf of NACTR sharing this work with you today.
So before we get started, just a little hello, welcome in our agenda today. So a little bit of background about NACTR and the project that we'll be discussing. We're going to go a bunch into community-led reuse of the toolkit. We will talk a little bit about the municipal resources, just a quick overview. We did host a webinar a few months ago regarding the municipal resources. If you haven't seen it already, please feel free to check out our website, and I believe it's also available in a link in LinkedIn. Sorry. We've got some exciting new announcements, and we're going to have a Q&A session at the end. We'll be hosting it, and if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the Q&A box or chat box during the webinar, we do ask for you to stay on with your microphones on mute, and we will have a section for chatting near the end. So what is NACTR? For any of you that might not have been a part of any of our NACTR webinars before, NACTR is an association made up of charities working together to implement sustainability. As you can see, some of our members include Salvation Army, Goodwill, Big Brothers, Big Sisters, Mission Thrift, and many more. Our mission is to support our members and increase their donations, helping them expand their social impact across Canada. Canadians want their donations to make a difference. Donating clothing and household goods supports local charities, benefits social enterprises, and has a positive environmental impact by extending the life of goods in Canada. Charities play a key and crucial role in addressing social, economical, and environmental challenges, which is something that Charlotte will be talking about today with you. They fill gaps in public services, support vulnerable populations, provide disaster relief, and so much more. Together with the help of the government, charities bring essential resources and passion to improve the well-being of Canadians, helping build a compassionate and thriving nation. And then if we keep going forward here, we want to talk a little bit about our project partners. We'd like to acknowledge our project partners and contributors to this toolkit that we are going to go ahead and talk about today. The research that was informed in this project and the toolkit itself was actually conducted by Share, Reuse, Repair from British Columbia, and they were one of our key partners in the project. We'd also like to send a big thank you to our advisory partners and members for their valuable input and support during this process. Their expertise and collaboration was instrumental in shaping the final product, and you can see some of them on the screen there today. All right, a little bit more background on the member data collected through NACTR. So let's take a look a little bit at some of key statistics from our 2023 report. This year, our members successfully diverted over 100,000 tons of textiles from landfills, which was a significant achievement. However, although a large number, the challenge still remains very big, as nearly 1 million tons of textiles are still entering the landfill every year. Currently, less than 24% of post-consumer textiles are either reused or recycled. The rest, unfortunately, end up landing in our landfills. When we compare this to our 2022 numbers, we can see some progress, but there's still much work that can be done to help improve the reuse and recycling rates to reduce the environmental impact of textile waste.
Which is why we're all here today, of course. So something I want to talk about is the collaborative nature of the way we work together. So we know that working collaboratively across industries and across disciplines is extremely important for amplifying the impact of our respective projects. With the political landscape such that it is now, with increased focus being placed on general affordability and the housing crisis, rightly so, it's even more important to collaborate to keep sustainability and the environment top of mind and to do the work to make it accessible to Canadians. And of course, that's the amazing thing about working with charities and with NACTR members. I mean, the work has the double benefit of contributing to the positive environmental outcomes and key social outcomes through helping charities advance their missions, which is amazing. Municipalities in particular are uniquely positioned to positively impact the textile diversion work by working with charities, as it helps all of us in numerous ways. Economically, there's an opportunity for cost savings for municipalities by reducing landfill needs through textile diversion programs. And with the volume of textiles now being produced on a global scale, and as a result, much more ending up in landfill, the cost savings offered by reducing these landfill needs is really significant. On the other side, it creates job opportunities and supports charities in the reuse and resale sector. So garments in general are highly underutilized. So that means that there are great opportunities to resell and further reuse these garments by ensuring that they do end up in that reuse stream. Environmentally speaking, diverting textiles from landfills helps municipalities meet sustainability goals, which are pretty lofty these days, and it also frees up space, especially when we consider that textiles made from synthetic fibers like polyester, which actually has a global fiber market share of 52%, it'll take up landfill space indefinitely. So, and even when we consider natural fibers like cotton, which has a market share of 25%, for reasons like needing to reduce the impacts of virgin materials and resource extraction, the environmental benefits are really important. And then the social side. So there's obviously an opportunity for municipalities to engage with their communities through educational campaigns and things like donation drives, for example, to educate around clothing consumption, around donation etiquette, as well as around charitable organizations' impact and presence. And that link with the municipality really validates the charity in the eyes of citizens and can act as a means of broadening their audience, which is really valuable as well. And of course, there's that opportunity to raise more money for their causes, advancing their missions in areas like poverty, food insecurity, housing, to name a few. NACTR has been engaged in a number of efforts to support increased diversion across Canada. We conduct a lot of research, as you probably know. We have released parts 1 and 2 of our Reduce, Reuse, Rewear papers. I think that was at the latter part of 2023. They highlight the potential for increasing reuse across Canada and are available on our website in the resources section. We also participated in the Environment and Climate Change Canada Strategy Workshop. We want to ensure our perspective is accounted for in broader industry consultations. We maintain our national donation site locator as it continues to grow and generate thousands of visitors a month. It's a widely used resource for Canadians when deciding where to donate their items. Very useful tool. We've launched our Canadian Community-Led Reuse Toolkit. It's a mouthful, which is what we'll be talking about today. And we have expanded resources on textile diversion programs for municipalities on our website as well. Some of you may have attended the webinar that we did on those resources not too long ago. We've also presented at several waste conferences, and we can continue to share the work out nationally like we are doing today. And we're currently working on another research project specific to Nova Scotia, which is the province that I live in. And we'll tell you a little bit more about that at the end of the session today.
So let's talk a bit about what defines community-led initiative. A community-led initiative is one that is initiated and run by local community organizations. This could include neighborhood associations, nonprofit, local reuse leaders, and institutions such as universities or places of worship. These initiatives may involve varying levels of support from local governments, ranging from a full partnership to just an independent community action. When we talk about reuse, we mean the process of diverting or delaying items from entering the landfill by giving them away, selling them, or finding new purposes for them. In this context, we use reuse in its broadest sense, acknowledging the growing popularity of terms like reusables, which often refer specifically to items like reusable containers for food or beverages. For this project, however, our focus is on textiles and household goods, items that can be reused once their owners no longer need them. These items might be reused in their original state, like a sweater that's still in good condition, or a working kitchen appliance. Or they might be repurposed through upcycling, such as turning old curtains into cushion covers or transforming electronic components into jewelry. Institutions like churches, community centers, and schools also play a very important role in supporting and hosting these initiatives to create valuable spaces for reuse efforts to thrive. So let's dive into the 4 main characteristics of a successful community-led reuse initiative. The first one we have here is scalable. A key feature of community-led reuse initiatives is their ability to scale across Canada, helping to divert more textiles, household goods, and associated materials from landfills. Scalability is demonstrated in a few different ways. Some examples could include practices that are easily replicated. Practices that are easily replicated by others with minimal training and straightforward implementation, whether it's as simple as a single-family yard sale or a large citywide event. These initiatives have the potential to divert significant volumes of textiles and household goods for reuse and recycling. We also look at number 2, resilient. Resilience refers to the ability of the initiative to sustain itself over time. For example, nonprofits that run through these initiatives demonstrate resilience through strong organizational sustainability, such as having staff support and a diverse financial base, or building strong long-term partnerships, especially with local governments that help to ensure continued success. The third that we like to look at is optimizing charitable benefit. Successful reuse initiatives also optimize charitable benefits by ensuring donations are managed efficiently. This could include making the best use of charities' staff, time, and resources, ensuring good returns on donations to maximize contributions towards charitable causes, or a charitable benefit can also include monetary proceeds, such as from a yard sale or any other fundraising activities. The fourth one that we like to look at is the shift's mindset. A successful initiative encourages people to think differently about consumption and sustainability. This could include promoting the repair of textiles and household goods as a way to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. This could also be educating the public about sustainable lifestyles, such as repairing items or making more conscientious consumption choices. All right, so first here we're going to get into a little bit about our community toolkits. After reviewing some incredible initiatives happening across Canada, we've put together an exciting list of community-led reuse initiatives. These best practices are all compiled in our final best practices toolkit, which is packed with inspirational and guidance for anyone looking to organize their own reuse event. You can access the full toolkit right off of our website or simply scan the QR code that you see on the screen over there to your right. This toolkit is a must-have resource for individuals and organizations who want to make a positive impact in their community. Today, we're going to walk you through some of these fantastic initiatives. But just before we start, we are going to go ahead and begin a fun poll.
Yeah, so we're always curious to hear, and actually, let me just put the instructions up how you can join. There you go. You can head to that URL on the screen and share any community reuse event that you've attended in your part of the world, wherever you may be. So you can be specific. You might type like 70-mile yard sale if you're in Prince Edward Island, maybe, or church flea market. You can type something general like that too. So I always just love to see the types of things that get people out and excite them when it comes to reuse and the things that they remember. Let's see. No responses yet. Oh, here we go. Clothing swaps, yay. Those are my favorite, as many of you probably know. Flea markets. Did someone write Threading Change? Love that. Fantastic organization doing amazing work all across the world. Great. Okay, thank you. Thank you everyone for participating here. Repair cafes, that was a big one that came up too. Those are so great. Thanks everyone. Okay, I did see the Great Halifax Clothing Swap pop up there, and now you'll see it pop up again. But one of the reasons that I'm such a champion of hyper-local thrift events like the ones that we're going to talk about now is because of my experience with the Great Halifax Clothing Swap. So in planning this event, I've been able to see firsthand how these sorts of events can act as hubs of connection, and they can empower people, and it helps them participate in the shift from a linear to a circular economy. Super powerful. So what is a clothing swap? Clothing swaps are hyper-local, they're hyper-social events where people bring good quality clothing and things that they no longer want to exchange with the other people who attend the event. And by participating in the event, they get an opportunity to refresh their wardrobes and find new homes for their unwanted items. So they're simultaneously extending the life of clothing and diverting clothing from landfills. And in addition to that, they make the circular economy accessible to all. All of these events do, in fact. And attendees feel a kinship with their community members through the sharing of clothing. It really is a win-win, win-win. So a couple things about clothing swaps that kind of fit them into the characteristics of community-led reuse initiatives that we were listing for you previously. So they're easily replicated. They work well in accessible community spaces. They can be integrated into other events. You see that happen sometimes. And there's opportunities for partnerships, of course, and you can donate leftover items to verified charities. It gets people thinking about alternative modes of consumption, incorporates fun and engaging educational activities sometimes. And it also lets attendees participate in the circular economy, like I mentioned. So the example that we've given, this is the format we've done. We're kind of giving an overview of like what the event is, and then an example of one that we found in the research that was done across the country. So this one, the Great Halifax Clothing Swap, the photo is from the 4th event that we held. So that one was back in May of 2024, where we welcomed around 560 participants. And it translated into close to 7,000 pounds of clothing being diverted from landfill to new owners and charitable organizations and collectors. And that was just in a single day from 10 to 4. So something else I love to mention about this event is that it works with multiple charities. So the event itself is a fundraiser, with the proceeds from the door being donated to Lang House, which is a local Halifax nonprofit that empowers young people living with mental health challenges. The event also serves to offer job training for those experiencing barriers to work through another of our partnerships with the Affirmative Ventures Association. And then all the remaining clothing at the end of the day is donated to Big Brothers Big Sisters Renew Crew at the end of the event. So there's 3 charities who really benefit from the event, which is amazing, and just shows how you can integrate a lot of different types of good into this sort of thing. And obviously those environmental, economic, and social benefits can easily be seen there. So it's really something I love talking about. Next, yard sales. Yard sales are so fun. I think everyone probably has an experience with yard sales or garage sale or whatever you may know them as. But in fact, it might possibly be my introduction to thrift might have been yard sales at a very early age. Like some of my earliest memories are with my mom driving around with the newspaper classifieds and the yard sale circle, doing the route through our community to hit as many as we could. And despite the fact that we don't really have newspaper classifieds anymore, yard sales are still going strong nonetheless. So that's great. That's good news. They can be implemented at a broad range of scales. So you can have them in an individual house, in a neighborhood, or you could even do it in a city. I'd like to see someone do that. They're popular community events and they're resilient over time, as I just mentioned. There's an opportunity to integrate like a fun festival-like atmosphere and incorporate complementary activities like music performances, lemonade stand, maybe craft sales, things like that. And they have a really great opportunity to partner with charities to collect, of course, for those in need and manage the leftover items, which in and of itself is a service. If you're going to do something like this, it's important to know what you're going to do with the things at the end of the day when it all kind of clues up. They can also attract thousands of people. And in the example that we've given here, it's the Yellowknife Indoor Garage Sale. In fact, it's organized by the municipality. It's indoors, which is nice in a harsh climate, like in the Northwest Territories. And residents can register to sell their household items and other things. And there's no commercial vendors at all. So items in good condition are generally brought, and then whatever's left is donated to local thrift stores. And it's really fun to watch these community-oriented events repeat year after year and grow in popularity. People really love them. Okay, here's another really cool initiative that I first learned about doing this project. And it's actually one of the reasons this project was, it got off the ground. The free market, the St. Lawrence Free Market, actually, in Toronto is the example that's given here. But let's talk about free markets first. So they're gaining a lot of popularity and they are exactly what they sound like. So they're a place for individuals to donate items they no longer need. And then attendees can come and take what they need for free. So you can see why they are trending up. Free markets are particularly well suited to high density urban areas where participants can easily walk to the event and may not have vehicle access. So they're great in that way. And then a regularly scheduled free market event can encourage residents to make reuse a habitual part of their consumption practices, which is really nice because we need to see that gradual behavior shift. So when they're scheduled a couple times a year, for example, people learn to hold on to their excess items, and then they participate more eagerly to kind of hang on to things to bring them when they know they're going to happen. So that resiliency piece is important. Charitable partnerships, of course, can help to manage the leftover items. And by doing that, you can also expand on the types of items that you offer and that you can accept at the market, so which is really nice. So as I mentioned, the St. Lawrence Remarket in Toronto. I think it started with something called the Waste Reduction Group, which was an ad hoc committee of the St. Lawrence Neighborhood Association, who incidentally are partners on this project as well, who were the inspiration for this project because we saw the impact that this type of thing could have. So it was founded in 2019 with the goal of improving the effectiveness of waste reduction efforts in the St. Lawrence neighborhood in Toronto. So it continues to grow and it collects unwanted goods and prevents them from being sent to landfills. And one part of this program is the free market. It's a place where anyone can donate or take items as they please. It's a good deal. By allowing our neighbors to directly access donated items free of charge, we keep the reusable items out of landfills and give them back to the community. And it's now in its 5th year of operation, running 4 times a year. So that's really stunning. At the end of the event, they donate numerous pallets, like 30, 40, 50 pallets at a time of leftover donations to the Salvation Army thrift store. So it's just amazing to see how you can kind of scale that community diversion. And just love to see those partnerships. And finally, we want to talk about university events. Some universities encourage students, staff and faculty as well, to reuse items on campus through what's called like a move-in program or a move-out program. And they help students to donate the items that can then be used by future residents. So like the other events, they're replicable, they're easily accessible, they can be integrated into other events, and you can donate your extra leftover items to charities. You can integrate an educational component into these by developing communication materials that will link those reuse programs to other sustainability efforts on campus. So think like bike sharing or what's another one? Furniture and office equipment sharing. Some universities do that. Free stores, pop-up thrifted events, which are becoming more popular on campuses now as well. So that's a nice piece to kind of integrate and streamline everything in the messaging and just broaden the awareness of what's happening. And the example we're giving here is the Mindful Move Out program at UBC. So it's a program that collects items that are valued by students that would probably likely be purchased new otherwise and then disposed of when they were moving out of residence. So maybe it's like a mini fridge or office supplies or something like that, desk chair, all kinds of other things. And it also acts as a service for students, which is pretty valuable, because they'll need to figure out what to do with those items anyway. So if there's a place where they can bring them where they know they're going to get, as some more use and be useful to someone who needs it, like that's a really nice thing for them as well. And they don't have to work as hard to figure out what to do with it or where to bring it and organize those logistics. So as you can see, the initiatives that we touched on here are not only great for the environment, but they are doing the important work of making the sustainable option the most convenient and affordable option, which is what needs to happen. The importance of that can't be stressed enough. These events are a fantastic tool by which we can slowly begin to shift our consumption mindsets and change consumer behavior, which is a tall order, to benefit both the people and the planet.
Thanks, Charlotte. So let's quickly cover some key municipal resources. If you joined our last webinar, we did a deep dive into this, and you can access the recording on the NACTR website. Here you'll find information on bin bylaws, RFPs, and MSWs. We also have a section for our municipal champions. You might be wondering, what's everybody else doing? Well, municipalities are leading the way by hosting collection sites and co-branded bins, organizing community waste event days, offering bin licensing that favors charities or RFPs exclusive to only charities. So how do we move forward with these breakdowns? Well, first, you want to define your purpose and scope. Start by aligning with your strategic plan. Will your initiative be a one-time event, a reoccurring event, or will it be at multiple locations? Then you want to engage with a NACTR member. Partnering with NACTR members help to expand reuse, recycling, and disposal options. This allows for more variety and acceptable items. We want to plan logistics, choose the right location, ensure accessibility, and account for regulatory requirements like e-waste. Also, plan dates, times, equipment, and of course, your budget. We want to go ahead and we want to engage the community. Use all your channels, social media, posters, press releases, partners, anything that you can to spread the word. Be clear on what items are accepted and what condition you would like them to be in. And last, we say track everything. Measure donations, attendance, volunteer numbers, and take photos for content creation to build on your success. Track, track, track. Numbers mean the most.
Yeah, and that's some great advice as well for planning these initiatives, incidentally, as well, Sarah.
And then we just wanted to go ahead. We have this on most of our webinars. It's just a bit about our additional resources. So we've got a waste audit guide, our national donation site location, and diversion publications all available on NACTR.ca. If you're looking for more of this information, please feel free to visit our website. Or if you're looking for some more instructional help, please feel free to email us, Charlotte, myself, or our info@NACTR.ca email. We also have many lined up and coming webinars, so please stay tuned on LinkedIn so you don't miss out.
And before we head to the Q&A, I did want to speak a little bit about a project that we're currently working on called Textile Transformation Nova Scotia. So this is a new initiative. It's designed to tackle the growing issue of textile waste specifically in the province of Nova Scotia, which is, again, where I am. What you see on the screen here is an excerpt from Divert Nova Scotia's 2023 landfill audit, which was conducted across the province. And we're unique in Nova Scotia because we've been categorizing textiles in their own bucket for many, many years now and doing regular landfill audits with them included. And so what we see is that the percentage of textiles in Nova Scotian landfills rose from 8.6%, or 24,000 tons in 2017 to 18.1%, or 58,000 tons in 2023. So it's a pretty big jump. Obviously making diversion more important than ever. And just to put it into context, because Nova Scotia is growing, our population rose between 2017 and 2023 by over 100,000 residents. So that is important to keep in mind, but when you do the math, the per capita textile waste disposed of in 2017 works out to be about 25-ish kilograms per person per year, while in 2023 that number actually grew to 55 kilograms per person per year. So pretty significant stuff, which is where this project was born out of. So the project is aiming to explore and identify sustainable textile recycling solutions and create pathways for circular textile economy by making policy recommendations for the short, medium, and long term, and by acting as a playbook for small jurisdictions in general, like municipalities and provinces, individual provinces. So that's the hope. And we're conducting a comprehensive landscape scan to do that. Looking at textile waste infrastructure and recycling capacity in and around the province, and identifying market opportunities for recycled textile feedstock, and exploring barriers to entry such as logistics and costs, among other things, technology, etc. So the ultimate goal is to recommend pilot projects to test local recycling solutions and, of course, to inform future policy recommendations. And I would encourage you, if you're interested in learning more about that, to reach out, put the email on the next slide here. If you send it to that email, I'll see it. And I'm interviewing lots of people as part of the project, and many of you maybe have already heard of it, but yeah, I would encourage you to reach out if you're interested to learn more. So that is it for the bulk of the webinar. We'd love to open the floor to you if you have any questions about anything that we've covered. Of course, if there are any NACTR members on the call and they'd like to chime in, please, if you have anything to add, we're all ears. We'd love to hear what's on your minds. So with that, I will leave it to you in case there are any questions.
I have a question here, Charlotte, that was written. Are you able to expand on whether municipalities can become NACTR members? And if so, what does the membership include, both in the expectations of being a member and what NACTR has to offer members?
Yeah, that's a really interesting point. And at this time, we do not accept municipalities as NACTR members, although that is something we are exploring, especially as it relates to those really important partnerships that we're talking about, because municipalities do have such an important role to play. But I would just say, if municipalities are interested in staying abreast of what's going on, just attend our webinars and continue to reach out to us. Right now, we do only accept charitable thrift operations. So businesses operating in the charitable thrift sector as members, as an industry association. It's a cool idea, though. We'll have to bring that one back to Tawny.
All right, we got another one here too as well. I'm a fan of swaps, markets, yard sales, etc., but shouldn't we be putting a push on charitable initiatives as the first option?
Yeah, I'm curious if the person that asked that would want to elaborate, like in terms of should the initiatives be fundraisers themselves? Is that what you mean?
Kim, did you want to become a part of the conversation, or would you just want to take this one offline?
Not a fundraiser?
Okay, next question.
Hi.
How do you, oh,
Oh,
Kim,
hi,
hi,
Kim.
Sorry.
thank you.
I'm a bit shy. No. I just really feel like if this is an NACTR initiative, I mean, all of these things are wonderful and they're all necessary. But because what we want to do as an NACTR members is increase our donations, then we can take the funds developed and reintroduce them back into the community in helpful ways. I would like to see more of an emphasis on the general public being educated to donate to charitable organizations as opposed to other initiatives first, or even people who are thinking have a yard sale, could they not just go, well, gee, that's a lot of work for me. I don't really need the money. Maybe I can just call such and such charity and see if they'll swing by and pick that stuff up for me.
Absolutely. And that's exactly what we're kind of trying to get at is like it's a service, right? It's actually it's going to be your problem to get rid of at the end of the day anyway, right? If you could have someone come and pick it up for you, because many of them will, then that's a very convenient option, isn't it?
It is, but do we want the leftovers or do we want the cream of the crop that comes before the yard sale?
Well, I think at the end of the day, there will still be a lot of good stuff left, depending, you know.
I'd rather get in personally, and I'm sure there's a lot of other operations managers and charitable leadership attending this meeting right now who would probably agree with me. I want us to be the first line of defense when it comes to reuse because we do such good work with the funds that we develop through this strategy.
For sure. And I think too, like maybe clothing drives would fall well under that. It might not necessarily be something that'd be open to the community, but it'd be like the community would participate in it. And you could do the marketing and let them know exactly like the messaging about what is happening and why they should donate to you. Because ultimately, you know, it's up to them and it's nice to have transparency over what's happening. So it's like we can either have these events where they can come get new things to them so they don't have to buy as much, thereby kind of changing consumption patterns, or have a clothing drive where we could bring the things we no longer want that are going to a cause that we really support. And that's kind of why we're getting behind doing it that way.
It is a win-win. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ashley, we see you have your hand up. Did you want to quickly come on and ask your question?
Yes. So I wanted to say that I absolutely love the idea of these yard waste, not yard waste, I apologize. I work for municipality, yard sales, and just having anything that you can offer to get anything out of the landfill, whether it's the cream of the crop that we're having other people purchase and being able to get rid of that way, or whether at the end of the day it ends up getting donated. I think having multiple options is wonderful. I think as a participant myself, I donate quite a bit. I normally donate just through having the house pickups, and I love being able to pull that out of the landfill and give it to those who may be in need. But I think this yard sale is a really cool option for the community to be involved and get to see how things are being moved throughout their own communities and sign up themselves to be a part of the effort. So I just wanted to commend that. I really like that idea. And just more of a question, and this could be something I can follow up with you afterwards. Again, from the municipality perspective, when it comes to donation bins, I think NACTR and the donation companies that we work with, we do a great job at co-branding and having bins placed out. I think one area that maybe this is something that's already been developed, I think a resource that's helpful is understanding property standard bylaws for municipalities where we have organizations participating. I know that that could be a challenge for us to have bins placed out for donation to take place using a bin system. So I don't know if you guys have those resources or if it's up to municipalities to be able to research that ourselves and understand. Just throwing that out there as a plug that was a challenge for us, but we do love participating in a bin program here in Peel. That's all I needed to say.
Where are you? Peel?
Region of Peel.
Oh, Peel. Got it. Yes, you're on our municipal champions list.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Nice. Awesome. Thanks for sharing that. And yeah, that is something that's been on our radar. The bin bylaw question. It's very specific to municipalities. I think, generally municipalities that I've spoken to anyways, like to be the ones to come up with their bylaws specific to their jurisdictions. But I think you're right. And as an industry organization, that might be something we consider as, maybe a code of conduct or something like that that could be useful as a starting point for those types of bylaws. So thank you for mentioning that.
All right, Charlotte, we've got another couple questions here. Robert Kell says, picking up on Kim's comments, have any charities partnered with municipalities for special curbside pickups of textiles once or twice a year? The textiles go directly to the partnering charity.
I don't know if any NACTR members online would want to speak to that. I don't know of any myself that have done it that way. I only know of the municipalities the municipality Markham who have done clothing collection. They've banned textile collection at the curb, and then they've co-branded with bins. And I also know that the County of Colchester here has blue bagged textiles on the curb, so they accept them at the curb. And I'm not sure, I can't really speak to how that program is going though. Kim, did you have something to say? I see your hand up there.
I think that it's a great idea. We're always looking for ways. I'm going to actually pursue further ways to collaborate with our municipality. But the twice a year at the curb thing could have its, if you get too much, which would seem like a great thing. Oh my goodness, we've got too much. But what do? If you can't distribute it, sell it, it costs money to store it. These things have to be really thought through to the very end, and with best and worst case scenarios absolutely planned before you can just say, oh, let's do this, because you could end up in more trouble than you thought.
Mm-hmm.
We've also heard some feedback from charities who did do curbside pickup, and there was a huge issue with weather. If it snows or if it rains or if a car drives by a puddle and it gets on any of the clothing, it is no longer good for a charity to pick up, as it can mold very quickly.
And I just see another question in the chat here about clothing bins and people dumping outside of bins and ideas to help reduce that. And I think the comment I would make there is messaging. Like it's a tall order, but there needs to be sort of a consistent message put out into the community about what can and cannot be donated and what should be left at the donation bins and what should not, so that people are aware. And then of course there can be, and I see Kim has her hand up. I know she's in the business of bins as well, but I know that there are some bylaws as well that will state like there can be fines and whatnot for this sort of behavior. So it's pretty critical to try and reduce it. Kim, did you want to comment?
I think another solution to the dumping issue is to have responsible bin maintenance, which could be affected through some kind of municipal or provincial mandates and licensing around bins. Because as it stands right now where I work, anybody can put a bin out there. It doesn't even have to say registered charity on it. It doesn't have to say anything. It doesn't even need a phone number on it. It can just say clothing donations. And nobody knows who it belongs to. And sometimes those bins get picked up once a week or less. And meanwhile, hardworking charities are out there almost every day at every bin doing their best and paying the dumping fees, picking up after negligent bin runners, et cetera, et cetera. So I think, yeah, some kind of cooperation with, or not laws, but bylaws could be very helpful.
Mm-hmm. Were there any other questions, Sarah?
There's a couple questions here. I think a couple of them would be good offline, but there is one here that I've got. Sarah McQuaid, what are some challenges we should prepare for in community-led initiatives? Can you expand more on the ideas of resilience and how we can prepare ourselves for these challenges?
Yeah, great question. Hi, Sarah. That's not an easy question to answer, I must admit. It is getting harder and harder to make these events a success because the quality of clothing is definitely going down and there's also more competition. So it's difficult, but I think, knowing kind of like the timing that makes sense, like how many times a year to do an event and that kind of thing is something that's kind of critical to test and to figure out and to see like what works for what you're doing. Just trying to think of anything else off the top of my head, but it is something that I think about quite a lot. So I think you and I could have that discussion sometime, and I'd love to hear your thoughts as well. I don't know if you want to come off mic or on mic for a second, but well, thanks everyone for being here. Oh, hey, Sarah.
Oh, sorry, Shara. I'm so sorry. I had to enable all of the permissions. You know how it can be sometimes where you have to click yes about 40 times.
Absolutely. No, it's so nice to hear your voice.
Thank you so much for this. Thank you as well, Sarah, too, for this. This has given me so much to think about. Just a very quick background for me, everyone. I work with Writing Change, and we are such proud partners with NACTR and the Great Clothing Swap in trying to reduce consumption. I'm essentially just trying to pick your brain here. I'm so sorry to give you the tough question today, but this is something I think about myself as well, too. I definitely hear one of the largest comments we get is the amount of clothing, or sorry, the quality of clothing is going down, and the amount that we're receiving. I mean, oftentimes what we have to do is we have to go through and we have to check everything for, say, tears, because what I find we're also having the issue is that the idea of repair isn't as prominent. So a lot of the clothing that we get, it's a lot of really simple repairs that can be done to increase the quality of it, but not a lot of people have that knowledge in how to do so. So I think maybe an idea that we could think about, in communities is not just providing the community-led swaps, but kind of creating like community-led hubs, where at the same time you're not only learning or gaining these new clothes, you're learning how to actually care for what you have, having more sessions on laundry,
how to properly launder your clothes so that we can keep them for longer. Because if it's not going to be great quality, let's at least really, really take care of what we have to keep it for as long as possible. And I think a big one too is weather and space. What Sarah was saying earlier about weather and textile collections, I think is a huge, huge concern as well too. You know, being in Canada, our weather can change every 5 minutes. I'm here in Montreal where it's really beautiful outside right now, but 5 minutes from now we could get a snowstorm. There's nothing stopping that, which can put a huge damper on our clothing swap. So anyway, if anyone has any other ideas, please let us know, because I think about this a lot. But thank you again, Charlotte and Sarah. This has been fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. I think that's a really good point. I mean, you know, it's hard to justify repairing something that you paid $10 for when you can just get rid of it and go buy another one. You know what I mean? It's really that consumption mindset that we're fighting against, which is you can't stem that tide. There's no possible way you can do that, right? Like, we need policy that's going to help us do that. But I really like what you're saying about integrating the educational components, and that's, you know, why I love working with Threading Change as well. Is like, it's more than just coming and getting new things. It's about teaching people, and maybe they come and they learn something they didn't know before, whether it's about repair or whether it's about something else. So yeah, it's just a platform, right? So powerful. Like I keep saying, these events are so powerful. All right. And that could take us down a whole other rabbit hole, so we won't do that. Is there anybody else? Did anybody want to come off mute before we kind of clue up here? Now's your chance. Have your say. And yeah, like I said, if anybody would like to discuss anything more or learn anything more or ask questions offline, please reach out to us, info@nactr.ca. We'll be happy to engage with you there. And thank you so much for coming and making time for this today. We really appreciate it.